There is not a single executive or creator in the technology industry more important than Steve Jobs.
Born in San Francisco, California on February 24, 1955, Stephen Paul was adopted by Paul and Clara Jobs shortly after birth.
Steve showed a lot of interest in electronics at a young age because his family had moved to Los Altos, California. You had Hewlett Packard around there, you had other emerging companies, and so he was thrown into this mix.
During high school, Jobs met Steve Wozniak, and the two were hired during summers at Hewlett Packard. Later, Jobs dropped out of college, but informally continued his education.
He wasn't a geek from early on, although he certainly had a high technical expertise. He needed a partner like Steve Wozniak to bring that element to it. But in terms of developing himself, he had interests in art, in history, in all kinds of areas that are highly unusual for someone in his field.
In 1976, Jobs and Wozniak started Apple Computers from the Jobs family garage. And with the Apple II, they found success.
The Apple I computer didn't sell very well. It wasn't really a functional computer that demonstrated a true capability for personal computing. But what they did is they designed the Apple II. That became extremely popular, and within a few years they were selling over $100 million worth of computers.
Apple went public on December 12, 1980, with a value of $1.2 billion its first day, but in the next few years lost its market share to IBM. By 1985, Apple forced Jobs to resign.
When Steve Jobs was pushed out of Apple, he picked himself up again pretty quickly. He grabbed the people he wanted to be involved in his new company, which was called Next, and they started about building the new company.
Jobs purchased a Lucasfilm graphics division, renamed Pixar in 1986, and worked as the company CEO while still actively developing his computer company Next.
Next Computer was the underpinnings of what was coming next at Apple. Everything that went on at Apple, including the operating system, including the design, had its origins in Next.
Apple purchased Next in 1996 and eventually returned Jobs to CEO. His software, called Next Step, evolved into Mac OS X, which led the Apple technology revolution.
The iPhone is the single most important device of the modern era. It is the smartphone, which is this all-in-one device, and so it's conceptually the iPod to the iPhone to the iPad to what's next has been the most important trend in technology.
What Apple really has done has raised the world's awareness of design and functionality. People look at these things and they just have to have them, and once they have them, they love them.
In 2011, Forbes magazine named Apple the most valuable company in the world. That same year, Jobs resigned as CEO. And on October 5, 2011, Steve Jobs died due to complications from pancreatic cancer.
I think Steve Jobs' legacy will be here for a very, very long time. It'll be there at Apple, it'll be at other companies. His legacy is not just the way he ran Apple or the way he developed products. It's a whole slew of different things that he was able to do so effectively that have changed our lives forever.